Welcome to AudioFi. This audiobook has been thoughtfully created using research-backed principles from psychology, neuroscience, and personal development. Every chapter is designed to help you understand yourself better, think clearer, and grow stronger from the inside out. So, find a quiet space, sit back, and allow yourself to absorb these transformative ideas. Listen with an open mind and a ready heart, because the change you seek may just begin with this very moment. Most people lose before they even start. Not because they lack talent, not because they don't work hard. They lose because their thinking is broken. They let doubt run wild. They focus on problems instead of solutions. They wait for permission that never comes. Winners don't think like that. Winners train their minds like athletes train their bodies, every single day, without excuses. This book shows you how to rebuild your thinking from the ground up, how to own your thoughts, how to turn pressure into power, how to make winning automatic. This is how to think like a winner. Chapter 1. Own every thought that enters your mind. If you don't control what goes on in your head, someone else will, and they won't have your best interests in mind. Every thought you allow to settle in your mind becomes part of your reality. Every doubt you feed grows stronger. Every fear you ignore becomes a chain. Most people treat their minds like a dumping ground. They let anything in. Random worries, other people's opinions, old failures, toxic comparisons. And then they wonder why they can't move forward. Winners don't do that. Winners guard their mental space like it's sacred ground. You think your thoughts are harmless? Think again. Every single thought you have is either building you up or tearing you down. There is no neutral. That voice in your head that says you're not good enough? That's a thought you're allowing. That fear that keeps you from speaking up? That's a thought you're feeding. That comparison that makes you feel small? That's a thought you're choosing to entertain. And here's the hard truth. If you're not choosing your thoughts, someone else is choosing them for you. The news is choosing them. Social media is choosing them. Your past is choosing them. Your critics are choosing them. And none of those sources care about your success. They care about keeping you distracted, doubtful, and stuck. Winners understand this. They don't let random thoughts run their life. They don't wake up and immediately start replaying yesterday's failures. They don't scroll through other people's highlights and feel less than. They don't let someone's bad mood ruin their day. They take full ownership of what enters their mind and what stays there. This doesn't mean you'll never have a negative thought. You will. Everyone does. But winners don't let those thoughts sit and grow. They catch them. They challenge them. They replace them. That's the difference. Losers react to every thought like it's truth. Winners treat thoughts like suggestions. And they only accept the ones that move them forward. You've got to start paying attention to what you're letting in. What are you watching? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? All of that is programming your mind. If you're constantly consuming negativity, drama, and complaint, that's what your thinking will become. If you're surrounding yourself with weak-minded people who make excuses, you'll start thinking like them. Your mind mirrors what you feed it. So take control. Cut out the noise. Stop following people who make you feel worse about yourself. Stop consuming content that fuels doubt. Stop having conversations that drain your energy. You don't owe anyone access to your mental space. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Every morning, before you do anything else, set your mind. Decide what you're going to focus on that day. Decide what kind of energy you're bringing. Decide what thoughts you're going to allow and what thoughts you're going to shut down. This is not optional. This is survival. Because the world will throw everything at you. Distractions, doubts, setbacks, criticism, and if you're not mentally prepared, you'll crumble. Winners don't crumble. They stay strong because they've trained their minds to reject weakness. They've built mental discipline. They've learned to say no to thoughts that don't serve them. They've learned to redirect their focus when negativity creeps in. And they do this every single day, not just when they feel like it. Every single day. You want to think like a winner? Start by owning your thoughts, all of them. The good ones, the bad ones, the ugly ones. Stop pretending they don't matter. Stop letting them run on autopilot. Sit down and ask yourself, what am I really thinking about? What am I telling myself? What stories am I replaying? And then decide if those thoughts are helping you or hurting you. If they're hurting you, replace them. Immediately. Don't sit in negativity. Don't marinate in doubt. Catch it. Flip it. Move forward. This is how you take back control. This is how you stop being a victim of your own mind. This is how you start winning. Your thoughts are your responsibility. No one else's. Not your parents. Not your boss. Not your partner. Yours. And until you own that, you'll stay stuck. You'll keep blaming circumstances. You'll keep waiting for things to get better. But things don't get better until your thinking gets better. That's the truth no one wants to hear. But it's the truth that will set you free. So stop waiting. Stop hoping your mind magically fixes itself. It won't. You have to train it. You have to discipline it. You have to own it. Because the moment you do, everything changes. Your decisions get stronger. Your confidence rises. Your focus sharpens. And you start moving like a winner. Not because you're perfect, but because you've taken control of the one thing that matters most. Your mind. You now own your thoughts. But ownership without direction is just noise. Next, you'll learn to aim that mental power where it matters most. Straight at solutions, not distractions. Chapter 2. Think in solutions, not problems. While everyone else is explaining why it can't be done, winners are already figuring out how to do it. Most people are addicted to problems. They love talking about what's wrong. They love complaining. They love listing all the reasons something won't work. It makes them feel smart. It makes them feel realistic. But all it really does is keep them stuck. Winners don't waste time on that. They see the problem. They acknowledge it. And then they immediately shift to solutions. That's the difference. Losers camp out in the problem. Winners move through it. You know what separates winners from everyone else? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not resources. It's mindset. Specifically, it's how they think when something goes wrong. Most people spiral. They panic. They freeze. They start listing everything that's broken. Winners don't do that. They ask a different question. Not, why is this happening? But how do I fix this? That one shift changes everything. Because when you're focused on the problem, you stay in the problem. You become a victim of it. You give it power. But when you shift to solutions, you take your power back. You move from reactive to proactive. You stop being helpless and start being unstoppable. This doesn't mean you ignore problems. That's not what winners do. They see problems clearly, sometimes more clearly than anyone else. But they don't dwell on them. They don't make the problem their identity. They don't spend hours talking about how hard things are. They spend minutes identifying the issue and hours working on the solution. Most people do the opposite. They spend hours talking about the problem and minutes trying to fix it. Then they wonder why nothing changes. You can't complain your way to success. You can't worry your way to winning. You can't sit around feeling sorry for yourself and expect life to improve. It doesn't work that way. Solutions come from action, and action comes from solution-focused thinking. Here's what happens when you train your mind to think in solutions. First, you stop wasting energy. Complaining drains you. Worrying drains you. Blaming drains you. But problem-solving energizes you. It puts you back in control. It gives you direction. It gives you hope. Because now you're not just sitting there feeling helpless. You're doing something about it. Second, you start seeing opportunities that other people miss. While they're stuck in fear, you're moving forward. While they're making excuses, you're making progress. While they're talking about how impossible it is, you're testing ideas. That's how you get ahead. Not by being smarter, by being more solution-focused. Third, people start to notice. Winners attract opportunity because they don't bring negativity everywhere they go. They bring solutions. They bring energy. They bring momentum. And people want to be around that. No one wants to work with someone who constantly complains. No one wants to invest in someone who sees problems in everything. But everyone wants to support someone who finds ways forward. So how do you build this mindset? You start by catching yourself. Every time you start to complain, stop. Every time you start to spiral into worry, stop. Every time you start to explain why something can't work, stop. And ask yourself one question. What can I do about this right now? Sometimes the answer is small. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it's research. Sometimes it's just changing your attitude. But there's always something you can do. Always. And that's where you put your focus. Not on what's broken, on what you can control. You also have to stop surrounding yourself with people who live in problems. You know the type. They always have drama. They always have complaints. They always have reasons why things won't work. Those people will drag you down. They'll train your mind to think like them. You can't afford that. You need to be around people who think in solutions. People who move forward. People who don't make excuses. Winners also ask better questions. Instead of, why does this always happen to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why won't this work? They ask, how can I make this work? Instead of, who's to blame? They ask, what's the next step? Better questions lead to better thinking. And better thinking leads to better results. You've got to train this like a muscle. Every single day, practice shifting from problem to solution. When something goes wrong, give yourself 60 seconds to feel it. Then move. Don't sit in it. Don't replay it. Don't call everyone you know to complain about it. Move toward the fix. That's what winners do. They feel it, they process it, and they move. And here's the truth. Most problems aren't as big as they seem. They just feel big because you're focused on them. The moment you shift your focus to what you can do, the problem shrinks. It loses power. You gain power. That's how you take control of your life, not by avoiding problems. By refusing to live in them, problems will always come. That's life. But winners don't let problems define them. They don't let problems stop them. They use problems as fuel. They use problems as proof that they're growing. Because easy lives don't build strong people. Challenges do. And the people who face challenges with a solution-focused mind are the ones who rise. So stop treating every problem like a catastrophe. Stop letting every setback break you. Stop giving problems more attention than they deserve. Start asking better questions. Start looking for answers. Start moving forward even when it's hard. That's how you think like a winner. That's how you win. Solutions give you movement, but there's still one enemy standing between you and action. The voice inside your head that's been programmed to break you. Chapter 3. Control your inner voice before it controls you. The voice in your head will either build you up or tear you down. You get to choose which one gets to speak. Most people don't realize they have a choice. They think that inner voice is just who they are, that it's permanent, that they're stuck with it. But that's a lie. That voice was built, it was trained, it was shaped by your environment, your experiences, your pain, and if it was built, it can be rebuilt. Winners understand this. They don't let their inner voice run wild. They discipline it. They train it. They control it. Your inner voice is the most powerful force in your life. It's more powerful than your circumstances. It's more powerful than your resources. It's more powerful than what anyone else says about you. Because that voice is with you every single moment of every single day. It's the first thing you hear when you wake up. It's the last thing you hear before you sleep. And everything in between, it's there. Narrating, judging, guiding, or destroying. If that voice is weak, you're weak. If that voice is full of doubt, you'll doubt everything. If that voice is critical, you'll never feel good enough. And if that voice is controlled by fear, you'll never take a risk. That's why winners don't leave this to chance. They take control of their inner voice, and they make it work for them, not against them. Most people's inner voice is brutal. It tears them apart. It reminds them of every failure. It replays every embarrassing moment. It tells them they're not smart enough, not strong enough, not good enough. And they believe it. They listen to it like it's gospel, like it's truth. But it's not truth. It's conditioning. It's old programming. And it can be changed. You've got to start by recognizing what your inner voice is actually saying. Pay attention. Listen to yourself. What do you say when you make a mistake? What do you say when someone criticizes you? What do you say when you're facing something difficult? Are you encouraging yourself, or are you tearing yourself down? Most people tear themselves down without even realizing it. They say things to themselves they would never say to another person. They call themselves stupid. They call themselves failures. They tell themselves they'll never make it. And then they wonder why they feel hopeless. You can't treat yourself like garbage and expect to feel like a winner. It doesn't work that way. Winners talk to themselves like they're coaching a champion, because that's what they are. They don't sugarcoat reality. They don't ignore mistakes, but they don't destroy themselves either. They correct. They encourage. They push forward. When they mess up, they say, "All right, what did I learn? How do I do better next time?" Not, "I'm such an idiot. I always mess up." You see the difference? One voice builds. The other destroys. And you get to decide which one you use. This takes practice. It takes awareness. It takes discipline. Because your default voice was programmed years ago. Maybe by parents who were too critical. Maybe by teachers who didn't believe in you. Maybe by friends who put you down. That voice became automatic. But automatic doesn't mean permanent. You can reprogram it. You start by interrupting it. Every time you catch yourself being negative, stop. Out loud if you have to. Say, "No, that's not true," then replace it. "I made a mistake, but I'm learning. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm moving forward. This is hard, but I'm capable." Simple, direct, true. Do this enough times, and your brain starts to rewire. The negative voice gets weaker. The strong voice gets louder. And eventually, encouragement becomes your default. That's when everything shifts. Because now your mind is working with you, not against you. Now, when challenges come, you don't collapse. You rise. You adapt. You push through. Winners also protect their inner voice from outside pollution. They don't let toxic people plant seeds of doubt. They don't let critics move into their head rent-free. They don't replay insults over and over. They hear it. They filter it. They move on because they know their inner voice is too valuable to let someone else control it. You've got to be ruthless about this. If someone says something that tries to tear you down, don't internalize it. Don't let it become part of your inner dialogue. Reject it. Immediately. Say, "That's their opinion, not my truth." And keep moving. Your inner voice is your fortress. Don't let anyone breach it. Also, feed your inner voice with truth. Read things that build you up. Listen to things that inspire you. Be around people who speak life into you. Because what you consume shapes how you think. And how you think shapes how you talk to yourself. If you're constantly around negativity, your inner voice will be negative. If you're around strength, your inner voice will be strong. You also have to practice self-correction without self-destruction. Winners make mistakes, lots of them, but they don't beat themselves up for it. They assess, they adjust, they act. That's it. No drama, no spiral, no self-hate. Just honest evaluation and immediate improvement. That's how you stay mentally strong. Your inner voice should sound like a coach who believes in you, but doesn't let you slack. Firm, but fair. Honest, but hopeful. Tough, but supportive. That's the balance. Not a drill sergeant who breaks you. Not a cheerleader who ignores reality. A coach. Someone who sees your potential and pushes you toward it every single day. Here's what most people don't understand. Your inner voice doesn't just affect how you feel. It affects what you do. If your inner voice says you can't, you won't even try. If your inner voice says you're not ready, you'll wait forever. If your inner voice says you'll fail, you'll sabotage yourself before you even start. But if your inner voice says you're capable, you'll take action. If it says you're growing, you'll keep pushing. If it says you're strong, you'll face the challenge head on. That's why controlling your inner voice is non-negotiable. It's the foundation of everything. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your inner voice is weak, you'll quit. You can have all the resources, but if your inner voice doubts you, you won't use them. You can have every opportunity, but if your inner voice says you're not worthy, you'll let them pass. So take this seriously. Your inner voice is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. You decide. Train it, discipline it, strengthen it. Make it so powerful that no external criticism can shake you. Make it so clear that doubt has nowhere to land. Make it so strong that when life tries to break you, your inner voice reminds you who you are and what you're capable of. This is not optional. This is survival. Because the battlefield is in your mind. And if you lose there, you lose everywhere. But if you win there, nothing can stop you. Your inner voice is now under your command. But a strong voice means nothing if your decisions keep pulling you backward instead of forward. Chapter 4. Make decisions that move you forward, not sideways. Every decision you make either gets you closer to winning or keeps you exactly where you are. There is no neutral. You think some choices don't matter? They all matter. Every single one. What you eat, who you spend time with, how you spend your morning, what you say yes to, what you say no to. It all adds up, and at the end of the day, the end of the month, the end of the year, you're either ahead or you're stuck. Winners know this. That's why they don't make decisions based on comfort. They make decisions based on progress. Most people make sideways decisions. They choose what's easy over what's effective. They choose what feels good over what gets results. They choose comfort over growth. And then they wonder why their life looks the same year after year. It's because they're not moving forward. They're moving in circles. Same habits, same excuses, same outcomes. Winners don't do that. They ask themselves one question before every decision. Does this move me forward? If the answer is no, they don't do it. It doesn't matter how comfortable it is. It doesn't matter how tempting it is. If it doesn't move them forward, it's a waste of time. And winners don't waste time. You've got to start making ruthless decisions. Cut out everything that's keeping you sideways. That friend who always drags you into drama? Cut them. That habit that drains your energy? Cut it. That excuse you keep using? Cut it. Be brutal. Your life is too short to waste on things that don't move you forward. Every time you're faced with a choice, ask yourself where it leads. Does this lead to growth, or does this lead to comfort? Does this lead to progress, or does this lead to more of the same? Does this get me closer to my goal, or does this keep me exactly where I am? The answer will tell you everything you need to know. And here's the hard part. Forward decisions are almost always uncomfortable. They require effort. They require risk. They require you to leave what's familiar. That's why most people avoid them. They'd rather stay comfortable and stuck than uncomfortable and growing. But winners know discomfort is the price of progress. You can't grow and stay comfortable. It doesn't work that way. Think about it. Every major leap in your life came from a decision that scared you. Leaving that job, starting that business, having that difficult conversation, taking that risk. Those weren't comfortable decisions, but they were forward decisions, and they changed everything. That's what forward decisions do. They create movement. They create momentum. They create results. Sideways decisions feel safe, but they're actually dangerous. Because they trick you into thinking you're doing something when you're really doing nothing. You're busy but not productive. You're moving but not progressing. You're working but not winning. And years go by like that. Years of motion with no momentum. Years of effort with no elevation. Winners reject that. They make decisions with intention. They don't just react to life. They direct it. When an opportunity comes, they don't hesitate. They evaluate it quickly. Does this align with where I'm going? Yes or no? If yes, they move. If no, they pass. No guilt. No second guessing. Just clarity and action. You also have to stop making decisions based on other people's expectations. Stop saying yes to things because you don't want to disappoint someone. Stop taking paths because that's what's expected. Stop living someone else's version of success. Your decisions need to serve your goals, not someone else's comfort. If a decision doesn't move you forward, it doesn't matter who's asking. The answer is no. This also applies to how you spend your time. Time is your most valuable resource. Every hour you waste is an hour you can't get back. Winners protect their time like it's gold. They say no to distractions. They say no to energy drains. They say no to anything that doesn't align with their vision. And they say yes to the things that do. It's that simple. You need to audit your decisions. Look at how you spent the last week. How many of those decisions moved you forward? How many kept you sideways? Be honest. Most people will realize they're making way more sideways decisions than forward ones. That's why they're stuck. That's why nothing's changing. They're choosing comfort over progress every single day. Here's what you need to understand. Forward decisions compound. One good decision leads to another. One step forward creates momentum for the next. And over time, those small forward decisions create massive results. But sideways decisions also compound. One wasted day leads to another. One excuse leads to 10. And over time, sideways decisions create stagnation. You don't just stay in one place. You actually fall behind because everyone else is moving forward. So stop playing it safe. Stop choosing what's easy. Stop making decisions that keep you comfortable but stuck. Start making decisions that scare you a little. Decisions that stretch you. Decisions that force you to grow. Because that's where winning lives. Not in comfort, not in safety, in growth, in progress, in forward movement. Winners also make fast decisions. They don't sit around overthinking. They gather the information they need and they move. Because they know that waiting too long is also a decision. And it's usually the wrong one. Opportunities don't wait. Life doesn't pause. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. That's the reality. You've got to trust yourself. Trust that you can handle whatever comes from your decision. Trust that even if it doesn't work out, you'll learn and adjust. Trust that forward movement, even with mistakes, is better than perfect stillness. Because stillness doesn't teach you anything. Action does. Forward decisions do. And when you make a forward decision and it doesn't work out, don't let that stop you. Adjust, adapt. Make another forward decision. Keep moving. That's what winners do. They don't make one decision and hope it works forever. They make decision after decision after decision, always asking the same question. Does this move me forward? And if it does, they take it. Your life is the sum of your decisions. Not your intentions, not your wishes, not your potential, your decisions. So make them count, make them bold, make them forward. Because comfort won't get you where you want to go, only progress will. And progress comes from making decisions that move you forward, not sideways. Forward motion is useless if every failure convinces you to turn back. Next, you'll learn how to turn setbacks into stepping stones instead of stop signs. Chapter 5. Use failure as information, not identity. Losers think failure means they're not good enough. Winners think failure means they're not done yet. That's the entire difference. Most people take failure personally. They let it define them. They let it convince them they don't have what it takes. One rejection and they quit. One setback and they're out. One mistake and they believe they're not capable. Winners don't do that. They see failure for what it really is. Feedback, information, a lesson wrapped in disappointment. And they use it to get better, not to give up. Failure is not the enemy. Quitting is. Failure is just proof that you tried. Proof that you stepped up. Proof that you took a risk. And if you're not failing, you're not pushing hard enough. You're playing it safe. You're staying small. Winners fail more than losers do. Not because they're worse. Because they're trying more. They're risking more. They're reaching higher. And when you reach higher, you fall more. But you also rise more. Most people avoid failure at all costs. They'd rather do nothing than risk looking foolish. They'd rather stay stuck than face rejection. They'd rather live small than try and fail. And that's exactly why they never win. Because winning requires failure. It requires falling down, getting back up, and trying again. Not once, not twice, over and over until you figure it out. You've got to stop seeing failure as a reflection of who you are. It's not. Failure is a reflection of what you tried, and if it didn't work, that just means you need to try differently. Not that you're not capable, not that you should quit, just that your approach needs adjustment. That's it. Simple as that. But most people can't separate the two. They fail and they think they are a failure. Winners fail and think, that didn't work. What's next? Here's what happens when you treat failure as information. First, you stop being afraid of it. You don't avoid risks anymore. You don't play it safe. Because you know that even if you fail, you'll gain something valuable. A lesson, clarity, direction. Failure stops being scary when you realize it's just part of the process. Every successful person has a trail of failures behind them. The difference is they didn't stop. They learned. They adjusted. They kept going. Second, you get faster at improving. Because you're not wasting time feeling sorry for yourself. You're analyzing what went wrong. You're identifying the gap. You're testing new approaches. While everyone else is sulking, you're growing. While they're making excuses, you're making progress. That's how you get ahead, not by avoiding failure, by using it. Third, you build resilience. Every time you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you're tougher than you thought. You prove that failure doesn't break you, that rejection doesn't define you, that setbacks don't stop you. And the more you prove that to yourself, the stronger you become. Failure becomes fuel instead of poison. Most people are fragile because they've never trained themselves to handle failure. They've spent their whole life avoiding it. So when it finally comes, and it always does, they crumble. They don't know how to process it. They don't know how to bounce back. They just sit in it and let it consume them. Winners aren't like that. They've failed so many times that it doesn't shake them anymore. It's just another day, another lesson, another step toward success. You need to reframe how you see failure. Stop calling it failure. Call it feedback. Call it a test. Call it a lesson. Because that's what it is. Every time something doesn't work, you're getting information. Information about what doesn't work. Information about what needs to change. Information about where to focus next. That's valuable. That's progress. Even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Also, stop letting other people's opinions about your failure define you. People will judge. People will criticize. People will say, "I told you so." Let them. Their words don't matter. What matters is what you do next. Do you let their judgment stop you? Or do you use it as motivation to prove them wrong? Winners use criticism as fuel. They don't internalize it. They channel it. You also have to stop replaying your failures over and over in your mind. Learn from it once and move on. Don't sit there for days, weeks, months reliving what went wrong. That's not reflection. That's self-torture. Take the lesson. Write it down if you need to. Then let it go. Move forward. Dwelling on failure doesn't make you better. It makes you bitter. And bitter people don't win. Here's another truth. Failure hurts less when you fail fast. Don't drag things out. Don't keep investing in something that's clearly not working. Test it. If it fails, pivot. Quickly. Don't be stubborn. Don't let your ego keep you stuck in a failing strategy. Winners are flexible. They adjust fast. They don't cling to what's not working just because they've already invested time or money. They cut their losses and move on. And when you do fail, own it. Don't make excuses. Don't blame others. Don't point fingers. Just own it. Say, "That didn't work. Here's what I learned. Here's what I'm going to do differently." That's strength. That's maturity. That's what winners do. They take responsibility for their failures, and they use them to get better. Failure is also a filter. It separates the people who really want it from the people who just kind of want it. If one failure stops you, you didn't really want it. You wanted it to be easy. But winners know nothing worth having comes easy. They know failure is part of the price, and they're willing to pay it, over and over if they have to, because they're committed to the outcome, not the comfort. You need to build a relationship with failure. Make it normal. Expect it, welcome it even, because every failure is bringing you closer to success. Every no is bringing you closer to yes. Every setback is teaching you something you needed to know. That's how you win. Not by avoiding failure, by going through it, by learning from it, by refusing to let it stop you. Your failures don't define you. Your response to them does. So stop hiding from failure. Stop fearing it. Stop letting it convince you that you're not enough. You are enough. You're just not finished yet, and that's okay. Keep going, keep trying, keep learning. Because that's what winners do. They fail forward, and eventually, all that forward motion leads to success. You've learned to turn failure into fuel. But there's still one trap that drains your power faster than anything else. Wasting energy on things you can't control. Chapter 6. Focus on what you can control. Ignore what you can't. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what happens in you. That's where winning begins. Most people spend their entire lives focused on the wrong things. They stress about the weather. They stress about other people's opinions. They stress about the economy, the traffic, the past, the future. All things they cannot control. And meanwhile, the things they can control, their effort, their attitude, their response, those things get ignored. Winners don't make that mistake. They put 100% of their energy into what they can control and 0 energy into what they can't. This is one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn. Your energy is limited. Your time is limited. Your focus is limited. And if you're wasting all of that on things you can't control, you have nothing left for the things you can. That's why most people feel powerless, because they're focused on the wrong battle. They're trying to control the uncontrollable, and it's draining them. Think about how much time you spend worrying about things that are completely out of your hands. What someone said about you, what might happen tomorrow, what happened 5 years ago, whether people like you, whether the market crashes, whether it rains. None of that is in your control, none of it. And yet you give it your energy, you give it your attention, you give it your power. And for what? It doesn't change anything. It just makes you weaker. Winners don't do that. They draw a clear line. On one side, things they can control. On the other side, things they can't. And they refuse to waste a single second worrying about the things on the wrong side of that line. They focus everything they have on their side, their actions, their effort, their attitude, their decisions, their response. That's it. That's all that matters. You can't control whether someone gives you the job. But you can control how prepared you are for the interview. You can't control whether someone likes your idea. But you can control how well you present it. You can't control the traffic. But you can control how you respond to it. You can't control what happened yesterday, but you can control what you do today. That's where your power is, in what you can control. Most people get this backwards. They obsess over things they can't control and neglect the things they can. They complain about the system, but won't change their habits. They blame the economy, but won't improve their skills. They criticize their boss, but won't increase their value. They want external things to change, but won't change themselves. That's why they stay stuck. They're focused on the wrong side of the line. Here's what happens when you shift your focus. First, you stop feeling like a victim. Because victims focus on what's happening to them. Winners focus on what they're going to do about it. When you focus on what you can control, you take your power back. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You're in control of your response. And that changes everything. Second, you become more effective because you're not wasting energy on pointless worry. You're directing all of that energy toward productive action, toward things that actually move the needle, toward things that actually create results. Your effort becomes focused. Your time becomes valuable. Your impact becomes real. Third, you build mental toughness because you're training your mind to let go of what doesn't matter. You're training yourself to stay calm when things get chaotic. You're training yourself to focus under pressure, and that makes you unshakable. When everyone else is panicking about things they can't control, you're calm, you're focused, you're moving forward. You've got to stop checking things you can't change. Stop refreshing the news every 10 minutes. Stop scrolling through other people's lives, comparing yourself. Stop replaying conversations that are already over. Stop stressing about tomorrow before today is even done. All of that is wasted energy. And winners don't waste energy. Instead, ask yourself every single day, what can I control today? Your morning routine, your work ethic, your attitude, your communication, your focus, your health, your learning, your growth. Focus on those things. Pour your energy into those things. And watch how much more powerful you become. You also have to accept that some things are just out of your hands. And that's okay. You don't have to control everything. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to stress about everything. Let go of what you can't control, not because you don't care, but because stressing about it doesn't help. It just drains you. And you need that energy for the things that actually matter. This doesn't mean you ignore reality. It doesn't mean you pretend problems don't exist. It means you stop wasting time on problems you can't solve and start focusing on the ones you can. You assess the situation, you identify what's in your control, and you act on that. The rest? You let it go. People will test this. They'll try to pull you into drama. They'll try to get you worked up about things that don't matter. They'll try to make you stress about things you can't change. Don't take the bait. Stay focused on your side of the line. Stay focused on what you can control. That's where your power is. That's where your peace is. That's where your progress is. Winners also understand that control is not the same as influence. You can't control other people, but you can influence them through your actions, your character, your consistency. You can't control outcomes, but you can influence them through your preparation, your effort, your strategy. Focus on influence, not control. Do what you can with what you have, and let the rest unfold. Here's the hard truth. Most of the things you worry about will never happen. And the things that do happen, you'll handle. You always do. So stop wasting your mental energy on hypotheticals. Stop stressing about worst-case scenarios. Stop borrowing problems from the future. Focus on today. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus on what you can actually do something about. Every time you catch yourself worrying about something you can't control, stop. Redirect your focus. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? Not what can I worry about. Not what can I stress about. What can I do? And then do it. That's how you stay strong. That's how you stay sane. That's how you win. You can't control the world. You can't control other people. You can't control what's already happened. But you can control you, your thoughts, your actions, your choices, your responses. And that's enough. That's more than enough. Because when you master what you can control, everything else falls into place. So stop fighting battles you can't win. Stop stressing over things that don't matter. Stop giving your power away to circumstances. Take it back. Focus on what you can control. And watch how much stronger, calmer, and more effective you become. That's how winners think. That's how winners live. And that's how you win. Control gives you power. But power without standards is just chaos. What you're about to learn next will separate you from everyone who quits when it gets hard. Chapter 7. Think in standards, not feelings. Your feelings will change every day. Your standards should stay the same. Winners know the difference. Most people base their actions on how they feel. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they quit. If they feel confident, they try. If they feel doubtful, they hide. That's why they never build anything lasting. Because feelings are unreliable. They shift with the weather, with your mood, with what someone said to you yesterday. Standards don't. Standards are fixed, and winners live by them, not by how they feel. Here's what most people don't understand. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Feelings come and go. Standards stay. If you're waiting to feel like doing something, you'll wait forever. Because most days, you won't feel like it. You won't feel like waking up early. You won't feel like working hard. You won't feel like pushing through. But winners don't care how they feel. They care about what they committed to. And they do it anyway. This is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel like it. Professionals work whether they feel like it or not. Amateurs base their effort on their emotions. Professionals base their effort on their standards. And that's why professionals win. Not because they're more talented, because they're more consistent. And consistency comes from standards, not feelings. You've got to set standards for yourself and refuse to break them, no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter how hard it gets. Your standards are your foundation. They're what you fall back on when motivation disappears. They're what keep you moving when everything in you wants to quit. And if you don't have standards, you'll crumble the moment things get difficult. Think about the areas of your life where you're inconsistent, where you start strong and fade, where you make promises to yourself and break them, where you say you're going to do something and don't. That's a standards problem. You don't have a clear standard, or you have one, but you're not holding yourself to it. And without standards, you're just drifting, reacting to how you feel instead of acting on what you decided. Winners set standards in every area of their life. How they treat their body, how they manage their time, how they handle their money, how they show up for people, how they respond under pressure. These aren't suggestions. These aren't goals. These are non-negotiables. These are lines they refuse to cross. And that clarity makes all the difference. When you think in standards, you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't debate whether or not you're going to do the thing. You just do it. Because it's your standard. You don't wake up and ask, do I feel like working out today? You work out. Because that's your standard. You don't wonder if you should stay late to finish the project. You stay. Because that's your standard. There's no conversation. There's just action. Most people fail because they negotiate with themselves every single day. They wake up and immediately start bargaining. Maybe I'll skip today. Maybe I'll start tomorrow. Maybe this one time doesn't matter. And every time they do that, they weaken their standards. They teach themselves that their word doesn't matter, that their commitments are optional. And eventually, they stop trusting themselves because they know they won't follow through. Winners don't do that. They hold the line. They keep their word to themselves. They do what they said they would do even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because that's when standards matter most. Anyone can keep their standards when things are easy. Winners keep their standards when everything is falling apart. You need to identify what your standards are. Write them down. Be specific, not vague ideas like, I want to be healthy. Specific standards like, I work out 5 days a week, no exceptions. I eat clean Monday through Friday. I'm in bed by 10. I don't check my phone before 9 a.m. Whatever they are, make them clear, make them measurable, make them non-negotiable. And then, here's the most important part, stick to them. No matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on. Your standards are your identity. They're who you are. And if you break them, you're breaking yourself. You're telling yourself you're not trustworthy. You're telling yourself your word doesn't mean anything. And once you lose trust in yourself, everything else falls apart. People will test your standards. They'll try to pull you off course. They'll invite you to break your routine. They'll pressure you to lower your bar. They'll make you feel like you're being too strict, too serious, too intense. Don't listen. Your standards are not up for debate. They're not a suggestion. They're a commitment. And people who don't have standards will never understand why yours matter so much. You also have to understand that feelings lie. They'll tell you you're too tired when you're not. They'll tell you it doesn't matter when it does. They'll tell you one time won't hurt when it will. Feelings are not facts. They're just signals. And most of the time, they're trying to keep you comfortable, not make you better. Winners don't trust their feelings. They trust their standards. Here's what happens when you live by standards instead of feelings. First, you become reliable. People know they can count on you. You know you can count on you. You show up. You deliver. You don't flake. You don't make excuses. That builds respect from others and from yourself. Second, you build momentum. Because you're consistent, you're not starting and stopping. You're not on and off. You're steady, and steady always wins. Consistency compounds. Small actions, repeated over time, create massive results. But only if you stick to your standards. Third, you eliminate decision fatigue. You're not wasting energy every day deciding whether or not you're going to do the thing. You already decided. You set your standard. Now, you just execute. That frees up mental energy for more important decisions, for strategy, for creativity, for growth. Your standards also protect you from regret. Because you're living with integrity. You're doing what you said you would do. You're honoring your commitments. And at the end of the day, you can look yourself in the mirror and respect what you see. That's worth more than any short-term comfort. That's worth more than sleeping in or skipping out or taking the easy road. Winners understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. If you have low standards in one area, you'll have low standards in all areas. If you let yourself slide on small things, you'll let yourself slide on big things. So they hold the line everywhere. They don't pick and choose. They don't say, I'll be disciplined here, but not there. They're disciplined across the board. Because that's who they are. That's their standard. You've got to stop making exceptions. Stop saying, just this once. Stop saying, I deserve a break. You know what you deserve? You deserve to keep your word to yourself. You deserve to build the life you said you wanted. And that doesn't happen by lowering your standards every time things get hard. It happens by raising them and holding them, no matter what. So set your standards, write them down, commit to them, and live by them. Not just when you feel like it. Every single day. Because that's what winners do. They don't think in feelings, they think in standards. And that's how they stay strong, stay consistent, and stay winning. Standards keep you steady, but standards alone won't move you. Next, you'll learn how to turn thoughts into the only thing that matters: action. Chapter 8. Build thoughts that create action, not excuses. Every thought you have is either building a bridge to your goals or building a wall between you and them. Most people think in excuses. They think about why it won't work, why it's too hard, why they're not ready, why the timing's off, and every one of those thoughts becomes a brick in the wall that keeps them stuck. Winners think differently. They think in terms of action. How can I do this? What's the first step? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to talk to? Their thoughts create movement, and movement creates results. You've got to understand something. Your thoughts are not neutral. They're either pushing you forward or holding you back. There's no in between. And most people are holding themselves back without even realizing it, because they've trained their mind to think in obstacles instead of opportunities, in problems instead of possibilities, in excuses instead of execution. Listen to how you talk to yourself when you're faced with something difficult. Do you immediately start listing all the reasons it won't work? Do you focus on what's missing? Do you tell yourself you're not ready? That's excuse-based thinking. And it will keep you stuck forever, because every excuse is a decision not to act. Every excuse is you choosing comfort over growth. Every excuse is you building a wall instead of a bridge. Winners don't think like that. When they see something they want, they don't focus on all the reasons they can't have it. They focus on the one way they can. They don't sit around waiting for perfect conditions. They ask, what can I do right now? And then they do it. They take the smallest possible step, and then another, and another. Because they know action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Action creates results. Most people overthink themselves into paralysis. They analyze every possible outcome. They prepare for every possible obstacle. They wait until everything is perfect. And guess what? It never is. So they never start. They stay stuck in their head, building elaborate plans that never turn into action. Winners don't have that problem. They think enough to get started. And then they learn as they go. You've got to train your mind to think in action. Every time you catch yourself making an excuse, stop. Replace it with a question. Not, I can't because, but how can I? Not, this won't work because, but what would make this work? Not, I'm not ready because, but what do I need to do to get ready? You see the shift? One way of thinking stops you. The other way moves you. Here's what excuse-based thinking sounds like. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't know the right people. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have the experience. The market's bad. It's too risky. All excuses. All walls. all reasons to stay exactly where you are. Here's what action-based thinking sounds like. How can I start with what I have? Where can I find 30 minutes today? Who can I reach out to? What can I learn from someone who started later? How can I gain experience faster? What's one small risk I can take today? You see the difference? One set of thoughts creates excuses. The other creates action. Your mind will default to excuses if you let it, because excuses are safe. Excuses protect your ego. Excuses let you avoid discomfort. But they also keep you broke. They keep you stuck. They keep you small. And if you want to think like a winner, you've got to reject that default. You've got to train your mind to think in solutions, in steps, in action. Every time you're about to do something important, your mind will try to talk you out of it. It will give you 100 reasons to wait, to hesitate, to reconsider. That's normal. That's your brain trying to keep you safe. But safe doesn't build success. Action does. So you've got to override that voice, acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect you, and then act anyway. Winners also eliminate the phrase, "I can't," from their vocabulary, because "I can't" is almost never true. What you really mean is, "I don't want to," or "I'm scared to," or "I don't know how yet." And those are very different things. "I don't want to" is a choice. "I'm scared to" is a feeling. "I don't know how yet" is a gap you can fill, but "I can't" is a lie that keeps you stuck. Start replacing "I can't" with more honest, more empowering language. "I haven't figured it out yet. I'm not willing to do what it takes right now. I'm choosing not to prioritize this." At least then you're being honest, and honesty opens the door to change. "I can't" closes it. You also have to stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for a sign. The sign is that you want it. That's enough. Start building thoughts that create action. I'm going to start today. I'm going to reach out to that person. I'm going to learn this skill. I'm going to take that risk. Those are winning thoughts, because they lead to winning actions. Action also builds confidence. You don't gain confidence by thinking about it. You gain confidence by doing the thing, by taking the step, by proving to yourself that you can. Every action you take, no matter how small, is evidence that you're capable. And the more evidence you build, the stronger your confidence becomes. But it starts with action. Not motivation, not inspiration. Action. Here's the truth. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never have all the answers. You'll never have perfect conditions. If you're waiting for any of that, you'll wait forever. Winners don't wait. They act. They move. They figure it out as they go. They build the bridge while they're walking on it. And that's how they win. So stop building excuses. Stop thinking in obstacles. Stop letting your mind talk you out of everything. Start building thoughts that create action. Thoughts that push you forward. Thoughts that demand movement. Because your life will only change when you do. And you only change through action. Not thinking, not planning, not hoping. Action. Every thought is a choice. Choose thoughts that move you. Choose thoughts that challenge you. Choose thoughts that demand you step up. Because that's what winners do. They don't sit around thinking about what they can't do. They act on what they can. And over time, those actions add up. And those actions create the life they wanted. Action separates dreamers from doers. But when pressure hits, action isn't enough. You need a mind that doesn't crack when everything else does. Chapter 9. Stay mentally strong when pressure tries to break you. Pressure doesn't create winners or losers. It just reveals who's been training their mind and who's been ignoring it. Everyone faces pressure. Everyone faces stress. Everyone faces moments where it feels like everything is falling apart. The difference is how you respond. Losers panic. They freeze. They break. Winners stay calm. They stay focused. They stay strong. Not because they're superhuman, because they've trained for this. They've prepared their mind for pressure. And when it comes, they're ready. Most people crumble under pressure because they've never trained for it. They've spent their whole life avoiding discomfort, avoiding stress, avoiding anything that challenges them. So when real pressure hits, they don't know how to handle it. Their mind goes blank. Their confidence disappears. They make bad decisions. They quit. And then they wonder why they can't handle the big moments. Winners don't have that problem. They've put themselves under pressure intentionally. They've trained in uncomfortable situations. They've practiced staying calm when things go wrong. They've built mental toughness through repetition. So when the real test comes, it's not new to them. It's just another challenge. And they handle it like they've handled everything else, with strength, with focus, with calm. You've got to start putting yourself under pressure before life forces you to. Don't wait for the crisis. Don't wait for the emergency. Train now. Push yourself into uncomfortable situations. Take on challenges that scare you. Put yourself in environments where you might fail. That's how you build mental toughness. Not by avoiding pressure, by seeking it out. Here's what happens under pressure. Your heart races. Your thoughts speed up. Your body tenses. Your focus narrows. That's normal. That's your fight or flight response kicking in. The problem is, most people let that response take over. They let the panic control them. They stop thinking clearly. They make impulsive decisions. They act out of fear instead of strategy. Winners train themselves to override that response. They feel the pressure. They acknowledge it. But they don't let it control them. They slow down their breathing. They clear their mind. They focus on what they can control. They break the situation down into steps. And they move forward calmly, deliberately, strategically. That's mental strength, not the absence of pressure, the ability to perform under it. You can train this. Start with small pressure situations, public speaking, cold calls, difficult conversations, physical challenges, anything that makes you uncomfortable. And practice staying calm. Practice slowing your breathing. Practice focusing on the task, not the fear. The more you do this, the better you get at it. And eventually, pressure stops being your enemy. It becomes your advantage. Because here's the secret. Most people perform worse under pressure. But if you've trained for it, you can perform better. Because while everyone else is panicking, you're calm. While everyone else is making mistakes, you're thinking clearly. While everyone else is breaking, you're rising. Pressure becomes your opportunity to separate yourself from the pack. Winners also control their self-talk under pressure. When things get hard, your inner voice will try to break you. It will tell you you can't handle this. It will tell you to quit. It will remind you of every past failure. You've got to shut that voice down immediately. Replace it with strength. I've trained for this. I can handle this. I'm built for pressure. That's how you stay strong when everything around you is chaos. You also have to stay present. Under pressure, your mind wants to jump to worst-case scenarios. It wants to imagine everything that could go wrong. Don't let it. Stay in the moment. Focus on what's in front of you right now, not what might happen, not what happened before. Right now, this step, this decision, this action. That's all that matters. Stay present and you stay strong. Another key to handling pressure is preparation. The more prepared you are, the less pressure you feel. If you've done the work, if you've put in the hours, if you've practiced the skill, then when the moment comes, you're not guessing. You're not hoping. You're executing. Confidence comes from preparation, and confidence is what keeps you calm under pressure. But even with preparation, things will go wrong. Plans will fail, obstacles will appear, unexpected problems will hit. That's when mental toughness matters most. Winners don't collapse when things go sideways. They adapt, they adjust, they find another way. They stay focused on the goal, not the obstacle. And they keep moving forward no matter what. You've also got to manage your energy under pressure. Pressure drains you if you let it. You've got to protect your energy. Don't waste it on things you can't control. Don't waste it on panic. Don't waste it on worst-case thinking. Direct all of your energy toward solving the problem, toward taking the next step, toward moving forward. That's how you stay strong when pressure is trying to break you. Winners also understand that pressure is temporary. It feels overwhelming in the moment, but it passes. Every crisis ends, every challenge resolves, every tough moment eventually becomes a memory. So, when you're in it, remind yourself of that. This is temporary. I will get through this. I've gotten through everything else. And that perspective helps you stay calm, helps you stay strong. Here's the truth. You're stronger than you think. You can handle more than you realize. But you won't know that until you face real pressure, until you're tested, until you're pushed to your limit. And when that happens, you have a choice. Let it break you or let it build you. Winners choose the second option. They use pressure as proof of their strength. They use it as fuel. They use it to grow. So stop avoiding pressure. Stop running from challenges. Stop playing it safe because you're scared of what might happen. Lean into the pressure. Train under it. Strengthen yourself through it. Because the bigger the pressure you can handle, the bigger the success you can achieve. Pressure and success go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. The people who rise to the top are the ones who can handle the heat, who can stay calm when everyone else is losing their mind, who can think clearly when everything is chaos, who can lead when everyone else is panicking. That's mental strength, and it's not something you're born with. It's something you build every single day through practice, through pressure, through refusing to break. So the next time pressure comes, and it will, don't run. Don't hide. Don't collapse. Stand firm. Breathe deep. Focus hard. And handle it. Like you've trained to. Like you were built to. Like a winner. Because that's what you are. And pressure doesn't break winners. It reveals them. Pressure is the test. Daily training is how you pass it. And that's what we've been building toward this entire time. Making winning automatic. Chapter 10. Train your mind daily until winning becomes natural. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your daily mental habits. Winners make those habits unbreakable. Most people think winning is about big moments, the championship game, the big pitch, the final interview, but winners know the truth. Big moments are just the result of 1,000 small moments, 1,000 small decisions, 1,000 small habits, repeated over and over until they become automatic. Winning isn't an event. It's a lifestyle, and it's built one day at a time. If you want to think like a winner, you've got to train like one every single day, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, every day, because mental strength isn't built in a weekend seminar. It's built in the daily grind, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, in the mornings when you don't want to get up, in the evenings when you're exhausted. That's where winners are made. Most people train their mind by accident. They let whatever happens shape their thinking. They react to circumstances. They absorb whatever's around them. They let their environment program them. Winners don't do that. They train their mind intentionally. They choose what goes in. They choose what they focus on. They choose how they think. And they do it every single day. That's the difference. You've got to have a daily mental routine. Just like you have a morning routine for your body, you need one for your mind. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. Start your day by setting your mind. Before you check your phone, before you look at email, before you do anything else, set your mind. Decide how you're going to show up. Decide what you're going to focus on. Decide what kind of energy you're bringing. Some people meditate, some people journal, some people read, some people repeat affirmations. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that you do something every single day, something that strengthens your mind, something that sharpens your focus, something that reminds you who you are and what you're building. That daily practice is what separates winners from everyone else. You also have to train your mind to handle adversity. Every day, something will go wrong. Something will challenge you. Something will test you. That's life. And if you're not training your mind to handle it, you'll break every time. But if you are training, You'll be ready. You'll stay calm. You'll adapt. You'll overcome. That's what daily training does. It prepares you for the unexpected. Winners also review their day. At the end of every day, they ask themselves, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What did I learn? That's how you grow. That's how you improve. Not by making the same mistakes over and over, but by reflecting, learning, and adjusting. Daily review creates daily improvement, and daily improvement creates long-term success. Another part of daily training is protecting your mind from negativity. You can't control everything that comes at you, but you can control what you let in. Stop consuming garbage. Stop following people who drain you. Stop watching content that makes you feel worse. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds, you get weeds. If you plant strength, you get strength. Choose what you plant every single day. You've also got to practice mental discipline. Not just when it's easy, when it's hard, when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, when you're frustrated. That's when discipline matters most. Anyone can be disciplined when they're motivated. Winners are disciplined when motivation is gone. That's what daily training teaches you. To do the thing even when you don't want to. To keep going even when it's hard. To stay committed even when you feel like quitting. Here's what happens when you train your mind daily. First, winning becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to force it. It's just who you are. Your habits are so strong that you do the right thing without thinking. That's the power of repetition. That's the power of daily training. Second, you build unshakable confidence. Because you've proven to yourself over and over that you can keep your word. That you can show up. That you can handle pressure. That you can overcome obstacles. Every day you train is another deposit in your confidence account, and over time, that account grows, and you become unstoppable. Third, you separate yourself from the competition. Most people don't train daily. They train when they feel like it. They train when it's convenient. They train when they're motivated. But winners train regardless, and that consistency compounds over weeks, over months, over years, and eventually the gap becomes so wide that no one can catch them. Daily training also builds resilience, because you're not just training when things are good, you're training when things are bad. You're training when you're tired. You're training when you're discouraged. You're training when you don't want to. And that builds mental toughness that nothing can break, because you've trained through worse. And if you can train through worse, you can win through anything. You've got to understand that your mind is a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with use, but it also gets weaker with neglect. If you're not training it, you're losing it. If you're not sharpening it, it's getting dull. If you're not strengthening it, it's getting weak. Daily training is not optional. It's essential. It's the price of staying sharp. The price of staying strong. The price of staying ready. Winners don't take days off from their mind. They don't say, I'll train tomorrow. They train today, every day, because they know that one day off becomes two. Two becomes a week becomes a month. And before you know it, you've lost your edge. You've lost your momentum. You've lost your strength. Don't let that happen. Train daily, no exceptions. Here's the reality. Winning is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about circumstances. Winning is about daily habits, daily choices, daily actions. And all of that starts in your mind. If your mind is strong, everything else follows. If your mind is weak, nothing else matters. So train it. Every single day, make it your priority, make it your obsession, make it your lifestyle. You've learned how to own your thoughts, how to think in solutions, how to control your inner voice, how to make forward decisions, how to use failure as fuel, how to focus on what you can control, how to live by standards, how to think in action, how to handle pressure, and now, how to train daily until all of that becomes automatic. That's how you think like a winner. That's how you become one. So start today, not tomorrow. Today, set your mind, train your focus, strengthen your discipline, and do it again tomorrow, and the day after that, and every day for the rest of your life, because winning isn't a one-time event, it's a daily practice. And the people who practice daily are the ones who win permanently. Train your mind, own your thoughts, take action daily. That's how winners think. That's how you win. Now go build it. If something in this audiobook connected with you, even in a small way, we'd love to hear from you. What resonated most? What are you working on in your own journey? Your thoughts, your story, they truly matter here. Your feedback not only helps us create better content, but it could inspire someone else who's listening right now. So go ahead, drop a comment below, and share something real. We're listening, and we're growing together.